Ladies and gentlemen, people are often not loyal to themselves when they ignore their inner voice just to please others, when they stay in toxic situations out of fear, or when they silence their truth to fit in. They betray their own values to avoid judgment, shrink their dreams to feel accepted, and wear masks that hide who they really are. This disconnection from self is a quiet kind of pain, because deep down, they know they're not living in alignment with who they truly are. My name is MUNIBA Mazari, and you are watching. If you like this speech, you can appreciate me by like, subscribe, and share. Honesty with yourself is one of the hardest things to practice. And yet, it's also the most liberating. It's not just about telling the truth. It's about facing it. And that's where most people struggle, not because they're dishonest by nature, but because the truth can be incredibly uncomfortable. Sometimes the truth means admitting you're not okay. Sometimes it means realizing the person you thought you were no longer exists. Sometimes it means acknowledging that the life you're living doesn't match the life you truly want. And that's terrifying. But it's also the only way to set yourself free. You see, we spend so much of our lives trying to build stories. Beautiful, safe, convincing stories about who we are and what we believe. We say we're happy when we're not. We pretend we're in control when we feel lost. We say we're fine when we're quietly falling apart. We keep ourselves busy, distracted, surrounded. Anything to avoid that silent moment when we're alone with ourselves and there's nothing left to hide behind. But in that quiet space, if you're brave enough to stay, that's where the real work begins. That's where you hear your own voice again. Not the voice the world shaped, but the one that was always there. And that voice doesn't lie. It tells you when something doesn't feel right. It whispers when you're settling. It screams when you're disconnected. And the more you ignore it, the louder life tries to get your attention. Through burnout, through breakdown, through that ache in your chest that doesn't go away no matter how much you try to fill it. Being honest with yourself means listening to that voice, not silencing it, not drowning it in noise or distraction, just listening. It means asking questions without trying to force the answers. It means allowing discomfort instead of rushing toward comfort. It's saying, okay, maybe I don't have it all figured out. Maybe I'm not where I thought I'd be. But I'm here. I'm aware, and I'm willing to grow. The hardest part of self-honesty is that it often demands change. It doesn't let you stay in denial. It doesn't let you keep blaming everyone else. It asks you to take responsibility for your life. And that's not always easy, especially when you're tired, hurt, or overwhelmed. But what's harder, living with discomfort for a while, or living disconnected from yourself forever? You don't have to have all the answers to be honest. In fact, most of the time, being honest means saying, I don't know. I'm scared. I need help. And those things take courage, real courage. Because honesty is not about being right. It's about being real. When you're finally honest with yourself, even if things are messy, you feel lighter. You feel more grounded. You stop needing to keep up the performance. You start making decisions from a place of clarity instead of fear. You stop running away from life and start participating in it, fully and consciously. And here's something beautiful about honesty. It creates space. Space for healing, space for connection, space for self-compassion. Because when you're real with yourself, you stop expecting perfection. You stop pretending that you're supposed to have it all together. You realize that you're a human being, flawed, complex, evolving. And that's okay. So many people think freedom is about escaping something, escaping pain, escaping failure, escaping limitation. But the real freedom comes when you stop escaping yourself, when you sit with the mess, when you accept what is, when you drop the mask and say, this is me. I'm not perfect, but I'm honest. And I'm growing. That's the kind of freedom that doesn't fade. It's not based on circumstances. It's not tied to outcomes. It's the kind that stays even in pain, even in fear. Because it's rooted in something deeper than appearances. It's rooted in truth. And the more you choose that truth, the more you create a life that actually fits you. Not a life that looks good on the outside, but feels hollow inside. You begin to show up differently. You speak with more clarity. You connect with more depth. You love with more openness. And that's where everything changes. Not when life gets easier, but when you become more honest about who you are and what you need to live fully. We do it without even realizing. We smile when we're hurting. We say yes when every part of us wants to say no. We shrink ourselves to fit into places that were never made for us, just to avoid disappointing someone else. We keep peace on the outside while we fall apart on the inside. And slowly, quietly, painfully, we betray ourselves. There's this strange belief so many of us grow up with, that pleasing people is the same as loving them. That if we just keep everyone happy, we're being good, we're being kind, we're being worthy. But what no one tells you is that people-pleasing isn't kindness, it's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of abandonment. Fear of being seen as selfish or difficult. And when fear runs the show, we end up abandoning ourselves just to be accepted by others. But here's the thing, every time you betray your own needs, your own truth, your own voice, you're sending yourself a message. And that message is, you don't matter. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, every time you hold back your opinion to avoid confrontation, every time you put someone else's happiness above your own health, you are teaching yourself that other people's comfort is more important than your own well-being. That kind of self-betrayal doesn't just disappear. It builds up. It shows up in your body, in your relationships, in your mental health. You start feeling anxious, resentful, disconnected, and you don't even know why. You lose the sound of your own voice because you've spent so long trying to mimic everyone else's. And the worst part, you look in the mirror one day and realize you don't even recognize the person staring back. But you're not weak for doing this. You're human. And humans are wired for connection, for love, for belonging. Wanting to be accepted isn't wrong. The problem begins when that need for acceptance comes at the cost of your soul. You don't owe the world your silence. You don't owe people a version of yourself that keeps you small just so they can stay comfortable. You don't have to carry the weight of everyone else's expectations. Your job is not to be what everyone wants. Your job is to be what you are, real, whole, and honest. Being true to yourself doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you care deeply, just not at the expense of your own sanity. It means choosing connection that's based on truth, not performance. It means creating relationships where your needs matter too, where love doesn't require you to disappear. Learning to stop betraying yourself is uncomfortable at first. It means saying no when you're used to saying yes. It means setting boundaries when you've always been wide open. It means facing the guilt that rises when you put yourself first for the first time. And yeah, some people might not understand, some might pull away. But that's okay. Let them. The people who truly love you, really love you, won't need you to abandon yourself to stay in their life. They'll celebrate your truth. They'll honor your space. They'll support your growth. And if they don't, then maybe it's not love. It's dependency or expectation or habit. And maybe that's something to let go of. You don't need to earn your place in the world by constantly proving your worth. You are already worthy, just by being you. Not the polished version, not the perfect version, just you. The one who has opinions and needs and dreams. The one who sometimes needs rest. The one who's learning how to show up for herself. So take a moment, breathe. Ask yourself, where am I still betraying me to keep others happy? And then, gently, slowly, start making different choices. Say the thing you've been afraid to say. Let yourself rest without guilt. Choose the path that feels right to you, even if no one else understands it yet. It's not selfish to stop betraying your soul. It's self-respect. It's coming home to yourself after years of running in circles for everyone else. It's finally realizing that peace isn't found in being everything for everyone. It's found in being loyal to your own heart, no matter what. And that kind of loyalty, that's where real freedom begins. We live in a world that constantly tries to tell us who we are. From the time we're young, we're handed labels. Smart, quiet, dramatic, lazy, pretty, average. People look at our choices, our clothes, our mistakes, and they form opinions. And somehow, along the way, we start believing those opinions are facts. We start measuring our worth based on how others see us, or how we think they see us. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And it's exhausting. The truth is, the need for validation is deeply human. We all want to feel seen. We all want to be valued. But when that desire turns into a dependency, when we start shaping our lives to fit someone else's standards, we lose something vital, our own sense of worth. It's easy to fall into the trap. You do something good, and someone praises you, and it feels amazing. So you chase more of that praise. You chase approval like it's oxygen. But what happens when they stop clapping? What happens when someone disagrees with your choices or criticizes your dreams? Suddenly you feel smaller. Suddenly you start to doubt yourself, not because you're not enough, but because you handed your power over to someone else. And here's what no one tells you: other people's opinions are not facts. They are reflections of their own lens, their beliefs, their fears, their experiences. You could be the kindest person in the room, and someone will still think you're fake. You could be the smartest, and someone will still question your worth. Not because it's true, but because they're seeing you through their own filters. And you don't have to carry that. Your worth doesn't rise or fall based on applause. It's not measured in likes, or followers, or compliments. It's not something you earn through perfection or performance. It's something you own, quietly, unapologetically, just by being who you are. The real journey begins when you stop asking, "What do they think of me?" and start asking, "And what do I think of me?" That's where your power lies. In the quiet moments when you decide to believe in your value, even when no one else sees it yet. In the choices you make that honor your truth, even if they're not popular. In the way you hold yourself with dignity. Not because someone else said you're worthy, but because you know you are. That shift doesn't happen overnight. Especially if you've spent years chasing approval or trying to prove your value to people who never really saw you. But the moment you begin, even just a little, it changes everything. You stop needing to explain yourself. You stop twisting yourself into shapes just to fit in. You start living more fully, more honestly, more freely. And that's not to say you'll never care what people think again. You will. We all do. But the difference is, it won't define you anymore. It won't decide your worth. You'll be able to listen, to reflect, even to grow, but without letting someone else's opinion erase who you are. So when the world gets loud, when voices around you start to question your path, remind yourself, I am not here to be understood by everyone. I am here to be real, to be true, to be whole. And if someone can't see your light, it doesn't mean you don't shine. It just means their eyes are closed. The moment you stop letting others define you, you start redefining yourself. Not based on what's expected, but on what's true. Not based on perfection, but on purpose. Not based on fear, but on freedom. And that's the most beautiful thing. When you finally realize that you are not a reflection of someone else's judgment. You are a reflection of your own truth, your own courage, your own becoming. So hold your head high, not because the world says you're enough, but because you know you are. That kind of worth, the kind that comes from within, is unshackable. And no opinion, no comment, no silence can take it away. Saying no can feel like a betrayal, like you're letting someone down, like you're being selfish, like you're not doing enough. And for a lot of us, especially those who care deeply, that guilt runs deep. We say yes, even when we're tired. We agree, even when we feel the resistance rising in our chest. We stretch ourselves thin to be kind, helpful, accommodating. But kindness without boundaries isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment. The truth is, learning to say no is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. It means acknowledging that your energy is not infinite, that your time is not disposable, that your heart deserves just as much care as the people you give it to. And yet, for so many of us, the word no feels heavy in our mouths. It feels like rejection, like conflict, like failure. But saying no is not about pushing people away. It's about honoring your limits. It's about listening to the quiet voice inside that says, this isn't right for me. It's about choosing authenticity over approval. Choosing to show up in a way that's real, not just convenient. There's this unspoken idea that being a good person means being agreeable. That we're supposed to always say yes, to always help, to always be available. But here's the hard truth. If your yes is rooted in guilt or fear, it's not actually a yes. It's a quiet betrayal of your own needs. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to not have the capacity. It's okay to protect your space, your peace, your priorities. You are not a bad person for setting boundaries. In fact, boundaries are what allow you to show up more fully, more lovingly, more sustainably. You can't pour into others if you're constantly draining yourself dry. Saying no doesn't need to come with an apology or an explanation. You don't have to justify your limits. You don't have to convince anyone of your reasons. Your no can be soft. It can be kind. It can be clear. And it can still be enough. Yes, some people won't like it. Some will feel disappointed or confused. But that doesn't mean you've done something wrong. That just means you're disrupting a dynamic that once relied on your silence or your compliance. And if your yes was the only thing keeping a relationship intact, then maybe that relationship wasn't built on truth to begin with. It takes time to unlearn the guilt, especially if you were taught that love means sacrifice or that your worth comes from being useful. But every time you choose your well-being over people-pleasing, you're teaching yourself a new kind of love, a love that includes you. Start small. Say no to the things that feel heavy in your chest. Say no to the events that leave you depleted. Say no to the conversations that aren't yours to carry. Say no to the roles that make you shrink. And watch what happens. You'll find space opening up, space for rest, space for creativity, space for genuine connection. When you stop filling your life with things you don't truly want or need, you make room for what actually aligns with your heart. That's not selfish. That's sacred. You don't need to save everyone. You don't need to fix everything. Your job is not to carry the weight of the world. Your job is to listen. To your body, to your energy, to your intuition, and honor what you find there. Sometimes that will mean saying yes with your whole heart. And sometimes that will mean saying no, even when it's hard. The more you practice, the more you'll realize that saying no isn't about shutting people out. It's about showing up for yourself. It's about choosing honesty over obligation. It's about building a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. You deserve that. You deserve to live in alignment with what's real for you. And the people who truly love you, they won't need your constant yes. They'll respect your no because they'll respect you. So the next time your heart says no, listen. Trust it. Stand in it. Not with shame, not with guilt, but with grace. Because every time you do, you're coming home to yourself. And that's the most powerful thing you can do. We all have moments we wish we could rewrite. Times we stayed silent when we should have spoken, said yes when our whole body screamed no, or pretended to be someone we weren't just to be accepted. We've all, in one way or another, betrayed ourselves. And the hardest part, living with that memory, carrying it, judging it, letting it haunt us in the quiet corners of our mind. Self-betrayal is one of the deepest kinds of pain because it comes from within. It's not just about what happened. It's about what we allowed to happen. It's about how we abandoned ourselves in the name of love, approval, survival. And the shame that follows, it can feel suffocating. Like we don't deserve to move forward, like we're broken, like we've already failed. But here's what we forget. Those past versions of us weren't trying to be weak. They were trying to cope. They were doing the best they could with what they had, what they knew, what they believed at the time. Maybe they were scared. Maybe they were lost. Maybe they were trying to protect us from even greater pain. And if we can't look at those parts of ourselves with compassion, we'll spend our lives running from our own story. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean pretending those choices didn't matter. It means acknowledging them fully and choosing to let go of the punishment. It means recognizing the pain you caused yourself, feeling it, holding space for it, and still saying, I see you.